Frozen in this moment, the last, and I know it. Think about the winners with hands with the coldest. Think about handouts.
Oh, hello there. Welcome. How are you doing? It is, of course, Cabinfeverpcast, and we're back live. This is one I've been looking forward to, ladies and gentlemen. I really can't wait for it. This is, you gotta love a bit of magic. Gotta bring a bit of magic to tonight's show. I've even gone red with the background to make it, all nice and soothly and, bring a bit of aura to it. But hey, it's bound to go wrong because I'm involved, and you know how things go in this podcast. Nothing seems to go right when we want to bring it right. But hey, I've got a guy, it's no words for this guy to explain really who he is. I think he might even do it better himself. This is a man that is award-winning. He has been Entertainer of the Year a couple of times. As far as I'm concerned, he's the best in the country. So we're going to do the best we can with this. He even has something prepared before we even came live, okay? Now, of course, everybody thinks, oh, I'll be in on these tricks or I'll be in on this. Those who know me realise how much of an idiot I am. I can't pull this off, okay? We're in West Cork. We've got West Cork broadband. It could go down at any second. So we're going to do the best we can, all right? We're going to have a bit of fun. This is going to be all fun. It's going to be all excitement. And do you know what? I'll let him introduce himself. So if I press this, and hopefully this works. Here we go. Let's go. Can everybody see? Are we ready? Hold on. Already. Well, let's try that again. Let's add this to this. That's it. Now, the technology. Here we go. Now, there we go. Here we go. Enjoy it, guys.
Thank you for joining me. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with me. First things first, this is not what I'm wearing for the show. I'm actually dressed. This is a pre-recording, so I can't hear you. So no point in trying to talk to me through the screen here. I just wanted to say thank you. And also, I'm looking for your help. I'm going to go and get dressed for the show. And I've narrowed it down to 5 different ties that I'm going to wear. And I thought this might be a good opportunity to bring you guys in and help me choose a tie. We're going to play a game. Come with me. Great. So, these are the 5 ties that I have mentioned. And I'm going to need your help to choose one for the show. This is more like a game, so play along. What's going to happen is I'm going to ask you all to place one finger on this tie. Okay, or point to it. Now, this is a pre-recording. I can't see what you're doing, but just in case you're skeptical, it might be a good idea to keep your finger out of sight, off the screen, so your camera can't see it. And then I'll say move a number of times, and every time I say move, you have to jump to the tie next to it. And then you can start to move either direction. Couple of rules. You can't jump, and if you come to the end of the line, obviously, you can't go any further, so you have to come back. So that's it. Everybody place your finger here. Move. Okay, now I know everybody's here, right? But when I say it again, you'll start to break off in different directions. Move. Okay, so some of you maybe have went one way, and some of you maybe went another way. Let's try it again. Move. Okay, at this stage, you could be all over the place. But I'm going to take it that nobody's on this tie, so I'm going to get rid of this. I think you've helped me enough with that. Let's go again. Move. Okay, I'm thinking here, I'm going to get rid of this. I think nobody was on that tie either. We're down to these 3. Move. Okay, here's what I want you to do. I think everybody's on one of these 3. And I want you to keep your finger here and remember the tie you're on. I'm not going to ask you to move any more times. I'm going to go get ready for the show. I'm hoping I'll get this right. Thank you, folks.
Right, here we go. This is... Okay, this is the part where we hope everything works, ladies and gentlemen. Gerard, are you there, buddy? Is this working? Is this the right... fuck did you do that? Ladies and gentlemen, see, there we go. Gerard, are you there, brother?
I am here. I am here.
How did you do that?
Look at this. A bit of magic through the lens, eh?
A bit of magic through the lens.
I always
How are you
said
getting
that
on?
I need help getting dressed, so thank you all.
And if you've just tuned in, ladies and gentlemen, if there's any more words we need to do, this is Gerard, Mr. AKA the Magic Man. How are things, my brother?
I'm good.
How are you getting on?
I'm good. All good. Happy days. The country's opening back up. The future's bright.
We're going to get back to work, it seems.
I think so. It looks that way. So,
slowly.
Yeah, it's happening. It's happening. You can see it. Just even the planning of it. You know, we are working today, but the planning of it, it's starting to happen. So I'm positive. I'm optimistic.
We're optimistic, and if all else fails, you can just magic things to happen anyway. So it's all good.
That was reality. Yeah. I think you need to lower your expectations today, Terence.
I'm hoping to see some magic in a little while. Okay, look, everybody knows how this podcast goes. We're going to get to know you, how things happened, how things started. Magic. Irish people, we're not known for our magic. We're known for our hurling, our football, our fighting, our drinking, but magic, it's not really one of them.
No, it's not up there. It was unusual. It's an odd one because it's weird. I'm not a spiritual person, and I'm not really but I always say that I believe, and I really believe. I believe magic was. I was always meant to perform magic, always, because there's been too many coincidences, or there's too many memories which are just odd. Growing up in Ireland, I knew I wanted to be a magician without ever seeing a magician. Like, for example, I remember the first time I saw a pack of cards. I was 5 years old. My parents had come back from the UK. They were going to a funeral, I think. I think it was something like a funeral. So we all didn't go. So when they came back, they brought presents back for each one of us. And I remember I got like one of those rain hat things. And my brother got a pack of cards because he was older than me. And I remember looking at them, just thinking, they had a sense of how another person might, get a mystical feeling from tarot cards or something. I just knew there was something about them that I really, really was drawn to. And that was like ever before I got into magic. And then I remember the first time I saw magic was actually when we first got the multi-channel all those years ago. So we're going back to the late 80s, or the middle to late 80s. I was maybe seven years old. And and there was a magician on one of the channels, on one of the French channels. So I just happened to see a guy with a pack of cards on stage. And that was it. I was immediately kind of drawn to it. And then after that, I was just picking up tricks here and there, just nothing, but always interested in wanting to learn a trick. But I didn't know I could be a magician. I still didn't know at this age I could be a magician. And then a funny thing happened two things happened which are quite interesting. The first is when I was 12 years old, my friends were going along to the Country Club Hotel, which is now the Montanati Hotel. And I was tagging along, and I didn't know why I was going there. They said, we're going for an audition. And I said, oh, great. So we all went for this audition. And I ended up landing a part in the audition. And it was the War of the Buttons, right? And I was cast as Big Con back in 2013, right? But when we were down there, there was about 17 or 18 kids brought down to West Cork for 3 months away from their families. And we had about 5 chaperones looking after us in Maria's schoolhouse in Union Hall, which it was at the time. And that had just opened up. And then they quickly realized we need something to occupy these kids when they're not on set. So they came up with this idea that we should all perform a show at the end at the wrap party, right? So when we finish filming, we get to perform a show. And I was at that moment, I said, I'll do a magic show. No, I never done a magic show in my life at this stage. So my parents brought me down to Paul Daniels' magic set. And it was there, I practiced so hard. I remember practicing all through the summer while we were shooting off set and practicing on the crew. And then I tell people I think I performed the world's worst magic show that summer. So if you wanted to be entertained for the wrong reasons, that was the place to be. So that was my first intro to actually performing magic, was performing magic before I understood it. But it wasn't until on the way to school. I was still fascinated by magic at this stage. Still didn't know I could really become a magician, but just wanted to consume magic. And I found a book on the way to school in my local library, and it was called The Amateur Magician's Handbook by Henry Hay. And it was a fantastic, talk about landing on your feet, because this is the best starter book you can have as a magician, like the best. It goes through all the different disciplines. And it was then I kind of understood, and it felt like I was stepping on into the inside. I was now on the side where people didn't know about. And that was the first, where I considered the beginning of my training. So I was probably about 14 to 15 years old before I was learning what we call the real secrets.
The proper magic. The shady stuff.
You know, we're moving away from we're not buying card tricks. We're not buying packet tricks here. We're stepping into, you know, it was just such a good book, because it kind of broke down like the different disciplines: mentalism, sleight of hand, stage magic, and I was able to quickly pick out what I was interested in, you know, and that's just finding that book changed everything.
Isn't it amazing? Like, as you said, you're not really a holy man, but like sometimes paths are just put there for you.
Things are strange, man. I mean,
it just goes like
yeah. I mean, I told you I went along to that audition. The reason I didn't know why we were going there was I was on holidays. I was away, and we came back early. All right, and when I came back early, I met up with my friends, and we went for and it was at that point I said we're going for the audition. I didn't think I could go for the audition as well. I thought I'd be just sitting there waiting for them, but it was like a cattle mart up there. Everybody in you know, north side of the city was going for the auditions at that stage, or seemed like, and yeah, so like, just talk about just coincidences. It's strange what life has planned for us, you know?
It really is. And you know what, that old Irish wives tale is, what's meant for you won't pass you. It means it has to be it, you know what I mean? You guys just honestly scared the life out of me, but it's almost like roller coaster is. I love magic, and I think you have to believe in magic to love it. Now, there's always, there's always the one smart fecker in the background. I know how he did that trick. You know what I mean? There's always that one fella. But if you just believe in the show, magicians just take you somewhere different. You know, they allow you to, I don't know, just take you away to a fantasy land.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And a good magician gets you there.
You said a couple of things there that just kind of, it definitely reaches out to me. Like there's always one guy in the back, and that's all down to like how some people would perceive magic, right? So, and that's a big thing, and what I try to do to myself now when I'm going to every function. What am I trying to achieve? But like, there's a big difference. The person that's normally kind of shouting, it's, you know, are normally people that don't like to be fooled. And I think a good magician won't want you to be fooled, because fooled would be the wrong word. Like, you're fooled by, I don't know, a used car salesman on the side road that sells you a lemon. You know, that's fooling someone. You know, it's an unpleasant experience. That's what I'm getting at. It's unpleasant. It's a negative word. The word I like to attach to magic is wonder, and there's a big difference. Right? There's a big difference, because wonder is different. Wonder is like an emotion, and wonder is something that everybody wants. You know, and that's the difference. I really try to when I try to remember that when I'm going to work. I don't want to fool anybody, and I genuinely don't try to fool people. I mean, they won't know how it's done, but that's not the same thing.
Yes, I understand.
It's not the same thing.
You're not pulling on somebody. You know what I mean? You just want them to like I said, fall in love with the moment.
Yeah, if I'm at a gig and there's ever going to be a joke at someone's expense from me, it's at myself, right? So, I feel it that much that it's not like, you know, it's never about capitalizing on someone else's kind of understanding or something. Yeah. You know, like I tell, and I openly tell people, you know, some people, oh my God, but they say it, but they're not actually asking questions. Oh my God, how did you do that? And they're really not asking the question. They're not. Yeah. And I say, well, you know, sometimes I might say something like, you know, you must understand, I've spent 20 years learning this 5 minutes, and you spent 3 minutes trying to dissect these 5 minutes. So I have a huge advantage over you. And I think that's a polite way of telling them that's what we're trying to create. Yes. You know, because that's what it is. That's the truth. You know,
it's a story.
Yeah, it is. It is a magic. It is like the story is there because the hardest thing to do in close-up magic. And close-up walk-around magic is actually, like, if I say it's a very difficult field, I'm kind of saying like, oh yeah, I do very difficult stuff. It's not that. It took me a long time to understand it myself. And it really, really did. And I only understand it because I spent a long time dissecting it. And close-up magic walk-around is a very, very difficult form of entertainment, because within a short period of time, which might be 7 or 8 minutes, you have to introduce yourself, perform, and
leave.
Create wonder, and then leave, right? So, and I spent years kind of doing it the wrong way, and never almost being an unhappy performer for a while, or finding out like, why do some things go really, really good and other things don't really, and I didn't know why. And that's a hard thing for any performer to kind of know, you're going out to control, and you don't know why you don't have control, so and it all goes back to that whole thing of like fooling. And what I understand now is a genuine connection, because you said story, and that's what brought me onto this, is creating a genuine connection. And that's why we have stories. And anytime I tell a story, there's a lot of truth to what I'm saying. In fact, nearly all of it is true. There might be holes in it to not let you see something that's coming up for your benefit or to aid the trick, but it's the truth. The words are the truth. And when you do that, that's how you create the connection. That's how that's when you stop fooling people and get wonder, because people, they enter a part what's called psychological surrender, right? So if I come up to you and say, I'm going to show you a trick, right? Yeah, I'm going to show you. I'm going to look and I'm going to see how the trick is done. Go on, show me the trick, But there comes a point where after I introduce myself and after I present what I'm going to do for you, and after we get halfway through it, and you're, oh my God, this is the real deal, or whatever you might think, but you enter a point of psychological surrender, which means you stop looking for the answers, and you start to enjoy the show. And that's a process that has to happen. And particularly it has to happen with close-up walk-around magic, because you're coming up unannounced. Yeah, that's pretty deep for an old Wednesday night.
There we go. We were like 20 minutes into that. That was really spiritual without being spiritual, wasn't it?
After I open up by saying I'm not a spiritual person, no.
That's how these things go, Jared. That's how these things go,
But you know what? But I'm passionate about that side of things. Like, it is important. Before anybody enjoys magic, they need to accept you as a person. And that's kind of the boiled down version of it.
Yeah, no, like, you can see that, and I've seen you perform before I got to know you as well. Before anybody knows anything, we've all been on the same circuit. Me as a DJ, you as a magician. We've seen each other at trade shows and stuff like that. Yeah. And only as of late we've started to get to know each other. So I can say offhand, I've seen you before we've got to know each other, and you're the same performing as you are in real life. You're just straight, honest, a good guy. Yeah. Really, that's what you are. And like, you can while you take the watch off my hand. Yeah. But
is this your wallet?
Yeah, is this your wallet? Yeah, there's nothing in it. I haven't worked for 24 months nearly.
Which is why I need a wallet. Go on.
But that's what you can see, that you have such passion, and it comes across. And like you said, you've only got a very short window to sort of break down people's massive walls, because as soon as you say, I'm going to show you a trick, people are like, right, come on, boy, let's go. It's almost like a fight. People get into that, I'm not going to be fooled type of scenario, and they're going to be like, I have to watch absolutely everything that goes on inside here. Like, and you can't. Because like that, you say you get to that state where you're just, okay, you like when you give up, it's almost like an adult holding a child's hand, and I'll tell you a story, and then you buy into it, and then there you go, and that's how it all is.
Like, of course, there's techniques to that, but like I said, the real part is try to be as real as you can. As soon as you're not really genuine about your intention, that's when people will keep up the walls. But there are tricks as well along the way. If I'm performing for 4 or 5 people at once, which is an average group size, then I'll try to give each person a role within the performance. So someone would help assist me with one part, someone else with another, someone else with another, and someone else with another. They're just techniques that you can use that would just kind of keep people engaged enough as well to feel like that is both personal for them, but as you said, it takes them on a journey.
Yeah. But it involves absolutely everybody as well. And like I said, I've seen from what you do in sort of like close hands. We were at a wedding, what was it, 2 months ago maybe? And I've seen your show right up close. Yeah. And regardless of being 6 inches away or being here now, there's really no difference in how you do it, which is the whole wonder of it. You know, that's the magic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, like I said,
cool.
I spent a long time designing it, and you spent 5 minutes trying to dissect it, so I have the advantage.
That's a very polite way of putting it, really, isn't it? So, come here, right.
Yeah.
You started off. What happens? Okay, so like myself, DJs have got DJ sort of fanatics and who we look at and who we try to copy. And, you know, you've got that type of, not say role model, but you kind of go, I can kind of bring this into my sort of act, or I can do this, or I can do that. Now, everybody knows who David Blaine is, or you've got the English fella as well. The real skinny
Dynamo
fella.
or Darren Brown?
Dynamo as well. He's kind of the American style version of David Blaine. Both guys do really cool stuff, to be fair. Like David Blaine burying himself alive and doing the whole standing thing and all that. Great feats of human endeavours. But the whole eating glass and stuff like that, you know, the way he does, he was on the Joe Rogan podcast and he was just there downing the water and throwing up frogs and stuff like that. Like, that's a different level. Like, that's commitment. Do you know what I mean? That is serious.
He went down this path of endurance for a while, and it was real endurance. I mean, there was no trickery about it, you know. He's bringing up a frog, you know.
You can't hide that shit, like.
I'm not that committed, but yeah. So he does those things where he loves to kind of test what the limits are, and he seems to be doing that forever. But he's I heard him referred to before as like an anti-showman. That he's you know, that people used to think that showmanship was all about panache and sophisticated words and posture, and he was the guy that changed that. He used to hardly talk at all, and if he did, it was something that was very direct, like watch, you know, that was it, you know. So but I love what he did. I love what Blaine did, especially what Blaine did, because I think Blaine saved magic in a way, especially the close-up magic, because we were you know, close-up magicians were probably on this one path, what was very, very self-involved, you know, because it was all about the practice. It was all about the move. We refer to some people as move monkeys, and move monkeys are just people that are addicted to kind of difficult moves with a magic and show them to other magicians for gratification. So instead of actually, you lose your path to what magic really is. And what magic really is what we found out through Blaine is actually everybody but the magician.
Yes.
It's the people. It's the
reactions.
normal people.
Yeah.
It's the people and the reactions. That's the magic part. The trick. Like if you look at David Blaine's first TV special, they repeat the same trick maybe 6 times, but with 6 different people, and each time
clips
was more entertaining than the last because it didn't matter. Now we're breaking the rule of showing a trick more than once. No, we show you what the trick is once, we show you the end of it 6 other times, and show different people reacting to it, and it was the best TV ever.
Yeah,
you know, it was it, and that's what brought us back to the path of, oh, we got this wrong. Is what Blaine is saying. That's the magic, right? So Blaine saved magic from that regard. He also saved magic in the sense that close-up magic probably wouldn't have been hugely popular before Blaine, but he made it hugely popular and hip. Yeah. You know, it was hugely popular within magic. That's different. Yes. Magic has its own world, its own community that talk to each other, and they only talk to magicians. And close-up magic was always considered like the nuts and bolts, the real deal. You know, that was it. But Blaine was the one who made it mainstream. They overtalked the likes of the Paul Daniels show, where magic was about stage and grandeur, right? And Copperfield, you know, Statue of Liberty disappearing. We thought that to be on TV, you had to go big, but it wasn't. Yes. He went so small. So Blaine has a lot to answer for that, for sure.
I saw Copperfield in Vegas in the MGM Grand, right, about 7-8 years ago, and I thought he was ridiculous. I genuinely, like, it was so it was so American. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're like, for what he was doing, it was just too much. There was too much show there. You know what I mean? Like there was like I'll go watch. Jesus, I'll sit outside to watch Magic. I love Magic. I love all that type of stuff. But it was just too. I'm David Copperfield. You know, it was too self-absorbed. That's what it was. It was too much.
I can't comment because I haven't seen the show, so I don't know is the answer. I listen to obviously a lot of magicians podcasts and I have a lot of magician friends, and some of them refer to one of the greatest shows they ever lived, and others don't. I've yet to go to Vegas, so I'm like.
You have not been there yet?
I haven't been there. No.
No,
I know. I don't know.
I've been 4 or 5 times now.
I was so close to going so many times, and something happened where it just couldn't happen. But like I must say, like I like the truth is, like I'd like to go see a show, but I'm not running to get there. If I really want to see it, I would have been there. You know, I would have been there already. But I was never really ever blown away by illusions. I was never sold by illusions. So like the bigger for me, the bigger the magic, I don't know. For me, it was a bigger disconnect.
Yeah, that's literally, I could sort of agree with that. Like I'd much rather see an ace of clubs go up 51 cards than see an elephant disappear in front of my eyes. You know what I mean? Because there was Channel 4 did a TV show years ago. Had that magician with the weird mask. Did you ever see that? What was that called? It was Magicians Untold or something like that. The Masked Magician. He used to tell how all the tricks were done. You know, and they always did.
Yeah, and he got
always
a lot
did this.
Of trouble afterwards. And
this guy is going to be outcast from everything he knows.
I tell you what I feel about him. I think he also saved magic. You know,
told everyone to up their game.
Well, I mean, the magic that he showed was magic that was very outdated. You know, it was very outdated, but magicians were still performing it. This is way before Blaine. So, you know, and you're right, it forced people to kind of up their game. But, like, now I realize, like, it doesn't matter. For me, anyway, for the type of magic I do, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter because, like, you could do a trick, and now you can go up to someone do a trick, and they might be able to go and. But I don't think they can. But let's say they might go and try to figure out how it's done. They might go online and they might search something, but it doesn't matter. The moment is gone. It's the trick has already been performed. You can't change the moment what happened. You can't change the vibe that happened to you. You'll have knowledge after the fact, but that won't change how you felt at the moment. And
we actually had this conversation about comedians doing the same thing. Is that what's funny right this second, when you look back on it, is not going to be funny tomorrow in 24 hours or 48 hours. But it's okay to laugh now. But don't take it too seriously. You know what I mean? Like that live in the moment type scenario. Like,
and there seems to be, like, the other thing, even for comedians and magicians, like there's moments leading up to the ta-da moment, but there's lots of small moments that are stepping stones. They might seem insignificant, but they're major stepping stones to that one point, right? And if you just focus on that one point without stepping, you've lost the detail. You're wondering, where's the impact gone? Why was I so flabbergasted by it? It's because of all the things you didn't see, but you felt, you know?
Yes.
And that's the difference, you know?
Yeah. No, that, like, and that's the one thing I will say, and this is what I'm going to ask you now in a couple of seconds, is like the stories behind all the tricks. You know, them little cues that you were saying. Like, when you come across a trick, right, and you see it, do you go, right, I'm going to put my own twist on it? Am I going to add 2 or 3 tricks to this one big trick and then go ta-da? Or is there 4 or 5 tricks in one trick, or is it just always one trick for one trick? Do you know what I mean? Or can you add segments to it all?
If you like, look, most good performers, magicians, will definitely have their own spin on things, right? That they will. Like if it's like everything I'll do, you'll only see that done the way I'm doing it. That's it. And that's it. No, you're right. We get our influences from many places. I might see a trick and say, I like something. Sometimes I don't know what I like about the trick, but I like it. And sometimes it might be just the performance of it feels good. and I'll explore with it, but then I'll have to find my angle on it. I'll have to find what works for me, and that's important, you know. I think that if you just like, it's okay to have influences. It is, of course, it is. We all start somewhere, and we all at the beginning of everything, we will kind of copy somebody for a while or try to be them, but it will never work for you, and you'll find some people find out the hard way, and some people are smart enough to go out instantly and put their own twist on it, you know. But you'll always, I think, if you're just at anything long enough, the road will kind of take you where you want to go. You'll always go down to be yourself towards the end, you know, because things just won't be right any other way.
Yeah, no, and you have to. It's like in a small way you can relate to that. Like, as in, we've all had nights where things have completely bombed. Like we were talking there beforehand, and not getting into me in any of the tricks or anything like that, but just general trick chat. Because, like I said, I'm kind of happy we managed to pull off that intro, because I was very worried about that. And as anybody knows, as soon as I press play on these podcasts,
we should tell everybody that we decided to run that about a minute before we went live.
Yes,
right?
literally a minute.
And I wasn't dressed like this for the podcast. For the pre-talk. No, I wasn't. I mean, I was all cashed out, kind of like, you know. And 1 minute ago, we said, "Will we do this intro? I have this intro." And he's like, "Yeah, we'll do this intro."
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Let's add a bit of danger.
Yeah.
But like, we've all had times where things have absolutely bombed, and like you were saying there, like we were saying off air, that happened to me the first gig I did back. I remember, I'll give you a simple example of this, right? And this is how things change. I remember doing a gig years back. It was the first time I ever DJ'd at Bog the Donkey, right? And as anybody knows, I'm a huge fan of Bog the Donkey. I had him in my pub numerous times, and we've all become very close friends. And the very first time I was working for Ted, you know Ted, don't you? Ted Dunn?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we all know Ted, God bless him. And he turned around and he says, "Right," he says, "Young, for this is your chance now. You're going to work with Bog the Donkey." And Bog the Donkey, in DJ wedding terms, like, they are one of the biggest, if not the longest running wedding band nearly in the country, right? There's a big deal for the likes of us donkey DJs to come along and play along with them guys, right? So I said, right, this is my big chance. I'm going to go and fucking nail this now, right? I'm going to absolutely nail this. It was the first time, bar of, say, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, that I actually planned my playlist, right? I said, I'm going to have this all worked out in my head. I have the first 4 or 5 songs. Oh, they're all perfect. They're all going to work in. Bad, everything is great. And Bog the Donkey do there. And Sav finishes off on the drums and then points the light over at me, and did I shit my pants? Of course I shit my pants. And I pressed play, and I was hoping for all the dance floor to stay there and everything was going to be great. And I was thinking in my head, this is going to be the best gig ever. They're going to want me to DJ with them all the time. Press play with the first song, and vroom, it was like the Red Sea. They just all parted. And I was going, oh my God, I was hoping that the world would just swallow me up and get me out of there. And I remember Pat, the guy who plays the keyboard, he was like, "It happens to all of us, young fella, don't worry about it." And I was going, shit. I don't think I sweated this much since I set the first English paper of my leaving cert. You know what I mean? I was under pressure massively to try and win back the crowd. And I think it took me like 6, maybe 7 songs before I got like 3 or 4 people on, and eventually I got them back up again. But speaking of pressure, I did a gig with them in a hotel a couple of more weeks ago. We were talking about this maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I said to myself, I didn't even know why, but I had worked it in my head that I'm going to do this with them. It's exactly what they finished with. I thought back into it again, and boom. So I should have learned my lesson from the very first time, is don't plan too much, because you just got to wing it sometimes. You just have to wing it. The people tell you, isn't that the way it is? You know, I say that to people sometimes. But look, it's a rite of passage, though. I mean, yes.
You know, you're very honest with your approach, and you're telling us about like how you bombed. I try to put mine into a black spot in my memory that's not accessible, you know, so that it just doesn't come back. It doesn't come back out. I have fear of it. But it is a rite of passage, and it's important. It's important that happens, because there's lessons in there that you'll take away. And it's normally the people that are still pushing for it that are actually pushing through, that actually learn from it.
Yeah,
you know?
Completely. You know, you've got to suck before you be good, like.
Absolutely.
You've got to
Absolutely.
you've got to take a lot of beatings before you become a good fighter.
It's funny you say that, because like when I take a gig on now, that's like, let's say it's 30 people, and 30 people for me can mean one of two things. I'll approach it differently. The first is what I do what you've seen me do is close-up walk-around magic, right? Whereas I walk to one group, walk to the next group, walk to the next group. That's normally for larger functions, right? So the big space, because when you're dealing with one group, the group all the way over here still doesn't know you're in the room yet. But when you're at something like a smaller party, like where there's 20 people at it, or 30 people, and you say, now I tell people, look, there's two ways it can happen. If I might do close-up walk around, and it might work like that, but I could, and it happened only not so long ago, or I could go into a space and you get, one group's attention. 2 seconds later, everybody's eyes on, and then you just change it into a formal show. But my point is that you don't go in there saying, I'll do the stand-up show, and you don't go in there saying this. You're just prepared for both, and the room tells you what to do. Because if you try to force anything upon anything, it's just you're going against the grain, which is not a good place to start,
No, so, it's not. And you learn that the hard way.
You learn that the hard way, and I've learned that the hard way. Yeah, definitely, for sure.
You have to, because if you don't get these rite of passages, you don't learn. And you don't build your stripes. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a war veteran out there that's not a war veteran. You know what I mean? And you have to. It's you're in the trenches. You got to try and entertain people, because once it's your time in the spotlight, and not so much like the worst things that could happen to me as a DJ is basically either my choice of music sucks, or else one time what happened to me actually was my laptop went down, completely just went shot. And I had one CD. This was back when I used to have CD backups. Now I have just MP3 backups, as in USBs. But I had one CD, and I had a CD player, and I had 20 songs. And it was a 51. And I had to do 2-hour gig with this one CD. And I ended up doing games with them. I ended up doing the Macarena with them. It was probably the best gig I ever did. But it was literally, oh shit, I better think of something. And it was really that sort of I better think of something moment that you can look back on now, and you can take scraps and pieces of it and go, well, it's never going to be as bad as that night. You know what I mean? And you can go, well, this helped me get out of this hole, and this song or trick or something like that, you've got them loaded guns in the back that you can just fire off whenever you need them to get you out of trouble.
Absolutely. I showed up to a gig once and opened up the boot, and my magic case wasn't in it, right? And I was in Killarney, and it was one of those things where it was kicking off as I was arriving, so I hadn't got time to go back. And but I always had a backup. I always had a backup case, which had about, I'd say, what I would have considered then a 40% of my full throttle in the bag, and that gig was probably one of the best gigs I've ever done, because and that's another thing you take, because I had to really invest in the connection.
Yes.
I knew the tricks would work. The tricks were never going to be the problem, but I really had to almost like sell myself, and that was a lesson to myself. That was a lesson to myself, saying like, so what am I? What, like,
can I do the cards the actor, or am I the actor?
What can I do with the full pack? If that was 100%, what I thought was 100%, what actually is 100? Is that now 500%? But there's things that will happen to us as performers, and like, look, I don't know, the worst thing that can happen to us at a gig is we croak it maybe, or something. The thing, what my point is, like, we are entertainment, but we are humans. You know what I mean? Yes. So we will go through these things, and things will happen to us, and it's as you said, like, you had them doing the Macarena, you were that, they knew you way probably better than if you had your regular set with you.
Oh yeah, of course, because it was a pure interaction show. Like, they got sort of music at a show rather than just music where I'd come on for maybe 10 minutes in the hour, whereas this was, I only had 20 songs, so I only had an hour of music, so there was an hour of me as well with it. And like I always say to everybody that I do my shows with, like, I don't necessarily whether it is I have no shame. Like I've got 3 kids. I've got a 9-year-old, 8-year-old, and a 2-year-old, right? So I'm still at that cool dad stage where, oh, my dad's a DJ and he's cool and he's all this. So I have that for about another 3 years, and then I probably become the annoying, oh God, Dad, you have to be doing that type scenario. But my littlest one, she loves Baby Shark, and this made my DJ career. This is the highlight of my DJ career. We was doing kids entertainment in one of the hotels, and I said, look, I'll bring her along with me. I said to herself, look, I'll bring her along with me just to see. Like, she might love it, she might hate it, but you can just wait out in the car and see what happens. So I put the lights, put the music on, and started playing Baby Shark, and she just had a sensory overload. You couldn't cope with it. Like, I was nearly crying with her excitement. She was like, oh my God. She was dancing around like a lunatic. And I was like, that's it. That's me peaking as a DJ, entertaining my 2-year-old, thinking that I'm the coolest person in the world. Life just doesn't get any better than this. It's fantastic.
No, that's it.
So yeah, that's it. That's me peaked. I could probably retire now, entertaining my 2-year-old, thinking I was the coolest dad in the world. But are you still the cool dad? Are you still the dad that, your kids are like, hey Dad, show my friend a trick type thing? Or are they all Dad, not another trick?
No. So the kids are 9 and 4, and I think the 9-year-old doesn't, I'm not cool. We went surfing this year in Inchilani, and so obviously Dad was going with Cian and Mommy was going with Cara, the small one, and he he turned to me and he said, all right, look, if we're doing this, like, don't call me dude, and don't do that thing where you put your hand on my shoulder, And it was at that time I realized, shit, I mean, am I that old am I that old to touch things? Am I he's literally viewing me the way I viewed my father, you know what I mean? It's like, you were literally the uncoolest thing, and but you know what, then when I think, like, he grows up, so, but if I'm in front of his friends and they see something, they react, like, he kicks back and he takes enjoyment out of it then. He gets enjoyment. That's my
dad, he's cool.
Like, then he's kind of like, he likes that then, but me and him, then, like, he might, maybe, I don't know. I think he's just cooler than me, so maybe that's what it is.
He is a pretty cool kid, because, hang on, we have something prepared here. Hang on a second. Let's see if we can do this. Everybody has seen your son. And that's not too many dads can say this. Hang on, let me see if I can do this. Your son had a part in probably making half the nation cry last year. He is this young gent. Where is it now? Hold on. Let's see if I can get this done properly. Because knowing me, add the stream. Here we go. Your young fella is the boy out of the Super Value ad.
Yes.
Yes. Did that come up on that side? There he is. Whew.
There he is.
That would have been really awkward if I had the wrong son there, wouldn't it?
Who's he?
Yeah, who's he? No. You should have done that. You would have made me sweat. Yeah. You would have made me panic.
Oh, who was this random? No. Yeah. That was, again, like we spoke earlier on, just about, coincidences and things. It's because of me being on More the Buttons. I've done some acting gigs and I've kind of kept my tone at a little bit, nothing mad, but like a little bit. And I was lucky enough to get other nice parts, and I had a relationship then with one or two casting agents, and they had called me to play the dad in this. Mm-hmm. So I'm on the phone and we're talking about the dad in this, and I'm like, okay. And we're talking about that. Oh yeah, I have a 9-year-old as well. Go, okay, well, yeah, I think we've kind of booked up with our viewings for that. But like, if you want, bring him on. And so I sent, because this was in the middle of coronavirus, so we'd send off the self-tapes. And I get a slagging from my brothers for this, because from that moment on, they were no longer interested in me. They were interested in Cian. He landed a part. And then my brothers now mock me saying, you're so good of an actor, you're not even believable as the child's father. You're his real father. That's how shit of an actor you are.
So you lost the part of your kid's dad to be your kid's dad.
Right, I didn't want to see it. They now want him, and yeah.
That's one that'll never be let down, I'd say.
No. I'm not even believable as his real dad. That's my acting.
Trust your older brothers to come along and sort of say, yeah, they'll level
they
you.
wind me up. They're just looking for opportunities to wind me up anyway. So
yeah. That's family brotherly love for you right there.
Yeah.
I tell you, right, this is a story. I think I may have told this on maybe 1 or 2 times in the podcast, but I tell everybody on. I don't believe in fortune tellers or mind readers or anything like that, right? I think who's the Irish magician there who slags them an awful lot? Keith, is it Keith?
Barry, you're thinking about?
Keith, yeah. He always goes down. But I tell you one thing, right? This is a story that I have, and it's the only story I have that's worth any decent. I was only a young fella, maybe I think I was 17, 18. I was 18 actually, and I was down fitting carpet, right, and vinyl in this lady's hallway. And like I said, I always loved tricks. So I used to do a thing in the pub that if you could show me a trick and I couldn't do it, you could get a free drink, right? Because I loved all the old pub tricks and, the bottle with the fiver on it, get the coins off and all these little tricks, right? And I remember there was one fella in the pub and he used to have just a dozen of them. That fecker ended up drinking free nearly all night, most nights, so I had to ban him from it. But it was just something to interact with people on a Sunday, you know what I mean? Because I'd be doing graveyards, so I'd be there 12 until 12. So I said to myself, look, I'll think of something that keep me occupied for the 12 hours, and then from sort of 5 until 9, if you could do a trick that I couldn't do or I couldn't figure it out, you got a free pint or a free drink if you were a lady. It was open to both. I don't discriminate, I'm very open. And it was a great way of doing it. So this is how the story came about, and this is a true story. I was down in her house and she was like, do you fancy a cup of tea? Do you fancy a cup of coffee? And I says, no, I don't drink tea or coffee. I'm very strange. And she starts laughing. She says, I'm not going to poison you. I says, don't have to worry. I says, no, I just don't drink it. I still to this day don't drink tea or coffee. Very weird. Not a health thing. I just didn't like the taste of it. And I was there sitting down, and I remember it was still at the time where the Sun newspaper used to put the healthy pictures in the page 3, right? Not just the general knowledge, it was the healthy pictures, right? And I was sitting down and I was like, Jesus, this old lady, I better flick these pages through and get to the sports section fairly sharpish, right? So I don't look like a weirdo sitting in her hall. So I was there sitting in her hall having my lunch and stuff like that, and she says, look, you can't sit there, come into the kitchen. And I said, no, honestly, I'm fine. I just want to chill out. I'll be back to work in 10 or 15 minutes. And she goes, no, come into the kitchen, and do you have any money on you? And I says, money? And she says, yeah, any coins or anything like that. So I says, okay. I check in my pockets, and yeah, I've got €2. So she says, right, finish reading your paper and come in and talk to me in the kitchen. So I was like, this is going to be a cool trick now. And even back then, I loved magic. Like I love the aura. I love the story. I love being invested for them couple of minutes. And she turned around anyway and she goes, do you have the €2? And I was going, what's she going to do with it? Is she going to pop the centre out of it, or is it going to be something cool like that? Do you know what I mean? And she goes, right, there's the €2. Caught it and put it in her pocket. I was going, that was shit. Like, you just probably robbed me of €2, but I'm invested now. You've cost me €2, so I'm invested. Like, come on, let me see what you're going to do here now. So anyway, she turned around anyway and she took out my hands and she read my palms, right? And of course, the old saying afterwards I found out, can't tell with no silver crossing my hands, all that type of voodoo stuff. And she turned around and she said to me a load of things, but she turned around and she said to me, a man like you will only ever have women in his life. No matter where you work, you'll be surrounded by women, and your house will be full of women. And now I'm 33, right? So back when I was 18, I was thinking, whoa, I'm going to have the next Playboy mansion. This is going to be fantastic. I'm going to be up to my knees in it, like, you know what I mean? This is going to be great. So, of course, I finished off the job, delighted with myself. Back down the road, she was down way past Castletown Bear here. And I was on cloud 9 thinking I was, fucking James Bond, yeah, this is great, And she was right. You go 15 years later, I have a house full of women. I only have girls. And when I was working in the pub, only ever women worked in the pub. So she was right. And to this day, this is the only thing I can ever think whether she knew it or whether she took a lucky guess. But she was right. And of course, I did have to get myself a female dog just to top it off there recently enough, who did maul me in my video earlier on today. But it was the thing. And that was the only thing she said to me. She said I would never be, she said I'd never have a straight path in life, which I never have. But she said I'd be surrounded by women. And she's been right. And that's the only two things that she said to me. And I was kind of going, I did take to a compliment that she called me quite a handsome young fella as well. So she kind of just flirted with me a little bit. But no, it was great.
That was before she got €2.
That was it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you can do it. I know you can do it. You can see it. Have you ever got your fortune told?
I have, yeah, I have.
Do you believe that?
I have done it. And I had a note. I remember leaving with the notes. Myself and my sister, we went down. Just because I'm interested. I wanted to know. I wanted to know. You know, I think I was about 16, 17, and around that time I got my palm read twice. Once in Blackpool and once in Cove, and I don't think I held on to anything too much what they said. There was a few things that they said, but I don't know. You know, I really. There was one. She said that my name would be in lights. I mean, that was I don't think she actually meant my name would be in lights. I think she just meant that I would work in the entertainment industry, or at least that's how I saw it. Yeah. That's something that kind of stuck out. That kind of she's that's right there. But I never hung on to any of it. You know, I never. Right now, I'm interested in it again. In fact, I have a great book here in it somewhere. God, where are you?
See, your backdrop is so much more fancier than mine. All I have is a curtain and a couple of uplights.
Well, sometimes that's all you need. I have a good book there, which is the full facts book on cold reading. But it is interesting on where you can go with palm reading, and I'm not sure how I actually feel. Like I have no desire to go to one now. You know, I would go to a really, really good one. I would, because if there's one of two things that they are, right? This is the truth to how I feel about it. One is they're the real deal. They've got the knowledge. They've got the knowledge, and they can see things, right? That's one of two things that they are going to, or they're really, really gifted, and they're so gifted that they know exactly what to tell you, when to tell you, and how to tell you. They know how to pick up from your last reaction, from your next, from your ex, from your jump from place to place based on who you are. Meaning every reading is different, right? Yes. But they're so good at it that every reading is different, but because everybody brings something else in, that they're just actually extracting things from you, I'm talking on a psychological level, like a technique, right? Not spiritual level. And anytime if I'm ever going to see one again, I really hope it's the latter, because that excites me a lot more. Like people that are so good, yes, that they know how to read it. It's like being the guru of poker players, you know. They know if you got the nuts, right? They know if you got the nuts. That's it. They know before you do, or they know exactly when to play, and that's what makes them that. To me, is hugely exciting. You know,
but you must get a good kick. You must get a good kick out of seeing a good trick as well.
Yeah,
that must be like.
This is the thing. So, I love to be fooled. I'd love to sit down here and be fooled. I would love to kind of feel that wonder again. I would love to sit down, because that's the thing when you step through that
the curtain,
you know, that mirror, and you're in on the other side on the sub-reality. Then it's like you start acquiring knowledge, and the more knowledge you acquire, the harder it is for someone to kind of run a trick past you. You know, so. It's lovely. It's a lovely moment. I go to this convention every year, which is the world's largest magic convention. Obviously, I didn't go in I did go in 2020 because it was in February, but it's the world's largest magic convention, and nearly anybody who is there, and you get to see some people are not performers. They don't perform for anybody. right? They come down from the mountains or whatever, and then they stand up to show you this stuff, and you're like, what is this? Because we have nothing to relate it to, right? There's nothing to relate it to. But this guy has been practicing this one thing for so long that he's perfected it. You get to see beautiful stuff. You said about going over to see David Copperfield. I never really had that desire, but I did travel to France to roam the streets to find a street performer named Babel, who I found eventually, and that was magical.
Would you not just go wake up some Sunday morning with a GoPro and go, right, Cork, let's see what's happening in Fiends, and walk around Pana and just go, hey lads, fancy a trick?
I don't know.
That'd be a pretty cool. I'd watch that.
It would be. It would be. It's just a rerun of David Blaine's thing, though, and a few people have done it since. Where you stop. I did before want to do something, and I never did it. I'm great for these kind of things that I should do, but not do it. But I did want to do something where it was more controlled. It wasn't so random like that. But I thought, wouldn't it be a great idea if you were if you did a series of going around to literally like the real old school pubs around Cork City and County or something, and getting to know the barman and getting to know the characters there, and they might have something to say, and then you do something on them, and then you're investing in the culture then,
Yes.
You're not investing in just the magic, you're investing in a culture, and you're giving something to the wider that people might want to see, whether the Americans or whoever they might want to see. They're watching it for a number of reasons. They're watching it for the magic, number one, but there's also something that they're not used to, that they can't get where they are, which is that pub down in West Cork that still has the the old mahogany shelves and the drawer for a till, So
we all have them drawers for tills.
Yeah.
They're the fancy ones as well.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. You get it though. That would be
awesome.
That would be kind of interesting to me.
That'd be cool because you could have a story like.
Yeah, I just reveal something else other than the magic. I love magic, right? And obviously, I love magic. I'm very, very passionate about magic, and I practice lots of magic. But I'm also having late realities with magic about what my relationship is with magic. I'm very casual with magic, knowing how it is. Like magic is to me is not the most important thing when I'm performing. It really is because I know the tricks are going to work, right? The magic is going to work. Right, that's not the problem. I have that.
Has it ever just gone?
It probably has. The beautiful thing about what we do is you don't know what's coming, so I can shape it any way I want to. That's another reality. But being honest with you, not really. There's nothing that hurts me in my memory, right? Or else it's in that dark place that we spoke about earlier on that I just don't have access to. I don't have the keys. But the thing is, what I measure now is when I go out and let's say I end up doing the same set 3 times over 3 or 4 gigs. So I go out and do this one set, and it happens to be the same thing 3 different times. But I get 3 different levels of reactions. That's what I would measure. What is it? The magic is the same. The magic is not the problem here, right?
Yeah.
So what was it? Was it the conditions? Was it exterior or was it interior? Right? So was it me? Was it them? Was it the conditions? Or what, and I try to look at that, and I try to have a look at, well, how do I make the top shelf one, like the really, really good one? How do I make the other 2 like that? Or what was wrong with that one that didn't hit half that level? What was it? And that's what I try to look at now. You know what I mean? That's what I really try to be. And it all comes down to everything other than the magic. It always does. Because the magic is the same thing. Yes. The magic has been the same.
Yeah. Right, it's the same with music. You can say the same thing. You can play 2 sets, get the same reaction. You can play 2 sets and get 0 reaction. And you can play some songs that you think, like I thought in my head that time, this is going to sell out. It didn't. Then you play the next one and it sells out. Like myself and another band, we were there, and you get these occasions where the wedding, they're just not into it. It's not that they're not into it, they're just not dancers. This is what we would say. They're non-reactive crowd, but they'd still be tapping away their foot or they'd be tapping away their fingers. It could be 1 or 2 things. The meal could have been massive and they're all sitting there bloated. Or another thing, it could be the lights are too bright. Because Irish people, we have this in our head, we can't dance if it's bright outside, or we can't dance if the lights are on us. But a simple song, hit the diff, at a wedding. I once played Let It Go, the Frozen soundtrack by mistake, and I thought it was something completely different, and played Let It Go. And before I copped it, because I had another song queuing in my head, they were all singing Let It Go, and it filled the dance floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just that one time and that moment, like.
Yeah, absolutely. So I suppose that's kind of what I look at now. But like now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I now have a different regard for Magic. I don't. I give it the same attention it needs and everything else. But I think there comes a point where when you're trying to reach someone, if you already have someone, let's say somebody good, but you can get, I suppose, am I giving each piece its worth? Can I get more out of it? Is there more in it? Am I giving it? Can it get more? Can you reach people more with it? If so, how is it? Sometimes it might be me. Sometimes it might be there's no connection to this story. I do a piece actually with this guy here. So I'll do this for you now to give you an idea of.
God, we're gonna have to see some magic. We're gonna have to see some magic.
So, and this is true. So this guy is Vernon, born in 1894 in Canada. Right, and he lived to he was 98 years old and was hands down the most influential magician of all time. So Vernon was my hero. So, like growing up, Vernon was everywhere in close-up magic. He influenced nearly all different moves in close-up magic. And 4 years ago, I was telling you about the world's largest magic convention. They had an auction, and one of the items on auction this year was a pack of cards that used to belong to Vernon. So here it is. Now, for everybody else, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to clear up here, just to let you know, I have a little system here where we can actually break away into two different cameras. But I'm going to go here so you can kind of see both me and the camera. So, and the close-up camera. At this convention, they had an auction, and one of the items in auction was a pack of cards that used to belong to Vernon. So here they are. So when I got them, they were old and worn because obviously they were old and worn and they were shuffled. But what I didn't realize was one card was face down. And then I thought, hold on, it's probably face down like for a reason if they were belong to Vernon. He was such a perfectionist. So I left it there. And now I call this Vernon's last trick. So Terence, I suppose what's really important here is that you didn't know, we didn't plan this. We genuinely didn't plan.
No, we did.
And you didn't know I was going to do it. I didn't know I was even going to do this.
Do you know what we're going to try and do? We're going to try and do this. No, hold on a second. We're going to try and do so people can actually see. And I promise you, if anybody knows me, they know I can't hide anything. So can I do? Hold on. No, can I swap that now? I wonder. Hang on. I'm trying to make your screen bigger and my one smaller. So people can see my reaction as well. I am not in this. Trust me, I'm too stupid to be in on this. Everyone knows.
You're not in on it. You're not in on it, and 100%. You're not. And look, this is something I perform.
So we're going to zoom out to make sure that everyone can see it at home. Hang on a sec. So I need to do this. Okay. All right. Now we're on it. We're on it.
Now, I just told you a story about Vernon, my influence, and that I ended up buying a pack of cards that one card was face down. And with that story in mind, I want you to name any one of the 52 cards. Now, bear in mind, the Joker's not one of 52, but after that, the world's your oyster. So go ahead and just name a card.
9 of Hearts.
So I'll do this slowly for you, just to kind of show you. All right, this is the pack of cards. There's nothing else in the box. I'll turn them over so that they're face up so we can see. And I'll spread through slowly so that we can now look for that one card that is face down. And we'll stop at that one face down card, right? So there's face down card. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, Terence, when I asked you to name a card, what did you say?
9 of Hearts.
9 of Hearts. So let me show you this. The one card that was face down.
Shit.
Was 9 of Hearts.
And
you know what? Just by yeah. So that is that is an idea of kind of how my thinking has changed in magic. You know, so before I wouldn't tell people the story because I didn't think it was interesting to them. But as soon as you tell people about something that's interesting to you, and something that's valuable to you,
yes.
And like there's a lot in that story about winning. What happens is you start thinking about those emotions and how I felt, and you start remembering things about how you feel towards different things that you have.
Yeah.
So there's a lot in that helps people to connect, and that's how I view magic differently nowadays. How can I create this connection as opposed to something that's just this. Actually, I could do this for you. I can do this for you. To show you one that's just face value, and there's nothing wrong with it. There is nothing wrong with it. You could be impressed with this, but I just think the emotion behind this is much more powerful. But what I have
cool
here what I have are two groups of cards, right? So I have blue cards, and there's 4 of them. Okay. So here, I have to make sure they don't go to camera because and there's red, right? So red here as well. Okay, 4 of them as well. So there are 4 queens in each. Right. So I'm going to get you to think of 1 red queen and 1 black queen, right? And the red queen can be from either this group or this group. So which group is your red queen in? The blue?
We'll go with the blue.
The blue. So red queen in the blue. You're going to think of a red queen here and a black queen here.
Okay.
And I've just shown you the 4 cards on the back, the 4 backs of them.
Yeah.
Whichever queens you now name, we're going to make them turn face up.
Okay.
And whichever queen you name, we will make them change places.
Okay.
So not only will they turn face up, they will then change places. Bear in mind, you haven't named them yet.
No. I'm struggling to remember them, to be honest, but
Go ahead and name the queens. I won't touch them until you name them. Go ahead.
The Queen of Diamonds.
Queen of Diamonds and?
The Queen of Clubs.
Let me show you this. I'll use 1 finger, okay? It's moving 1.
Ah, shit.
Queen of Diamonds. Watch this. 1 finger. Queen of Clubs, and they're in the opposite groups.
That's cool.
Now, you know how I know they're definitely in the opposite groups?
Because they're going to be the different color cards.
Because this one is blue and this one is red. And you know what? I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say, and that's why they're actually the only queens. The rest are jokers. Every single.
That is cool, man.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
That is cool. That is fun. Forget that. That's cool as shit, man. That's the coolest thing I've ever seen in a podcast.
Yeah.
And those of you who are listening on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast from, head to YouTube and watch it. It is cool. It is.
Well, let's give them something that they don't. Actually, let's do something for the people that are just listening in.
Okay,
right?
no problem.
Because,
here's my hand. Take it. I'm down this lane now. I'm committed. Do what you want. Do you want my PIN card for my bank link? There's nothing in it, but I'll give you my PIN code if you want.
Well, let's do this. So I've given you a bit of homework before the show.
You did.
And let me just let's see if we can work with that. And because this is for people listening, we'll make it pure for there won't be any. What I asked you to do is to do a bit of research, to pick out something random and something specific. So the first thing was that in your head that you go and you think of something specific. And I said something specific, someone specific actually. I said a person.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had that person that was a freely chosen person, right?
Yeah.
And then you were to go and look up an article and pick out a random word from Wikipedia.
Yeah.
And that was the something random.
Uh-huh.
Right? And we're going to see if we can work with this. And
I'm nervous as shit. Like, you really have the hairs of the neck standing, like, honest to God.
Well, let's do this. Let's just focus on something. There's something random. If you could do me a favor, and let's say if you just let's just say you think of the last letter, or just the last letter. Just think of it, all right?
Okay.
And I will, I might not. This might not play out. I mean, this is just, you could literally have written down anything, but is it S?
Yeah.
Okay.
Voice is getting very high pitched.
What about the second letter? Is that D?
Yeah.
Okay. So you thought of something random. I mean, you literally thought of it. Is that random word advantages?
Fucking hell. Yes, it is. I have it written here on my iPad. But go on, and I'll leave my iPad standing here so people think that I'm typing. I'm not typing anything here at all. I promise you.
Let's do this. There's something. The somebody was arranged from anybody. You could literally think of anybody. Somebody famous.
Somebody
right?
famous. Yes, it was somebody famous.
Okay. So, and let's be very, very clear. You did not.
No, I swear to you on my children, I didn't do this.
And nobody else there knows that.
Nope. It's only me in this basement. Yeah.
Okay. Can you? It might be easier if this person is associated with something else. Let's start. Let's. Can you like find a favorite famous quote or something if someone says it, you know.
Yeah, I can do.
You can do. So you're thinking on that now, are you?
Yeah.
Is there a lot of words in it? Like, is it a sentence?
Yeah.
Or maybe five words. Okay. Can you think of a second? Can you think of a second word? Let's just see if we can isolate a word. Think of a second word in that sentence.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that hello?
Oh, for fuck's sake! Yeah.
You're thinking of the word hello.
Yeah.
Are you thinking of Al Pacino?
Oh, fuck, yes. Shit. And I ain't typing. Look, I literally unlock my phone. There you go. If people can make it out. There you go. That is fucking weird, man. Oh.
You know what? If you do me a favor and send it €2 in the post, I'd be very grateful.
Yeah, here. Fuck, that was strange. I'm actually kind of sweating, which makes it even worse. And I promise that was not. That's fucking weird, man. That gives me the heebie-jeebies. Yeah, yeah, that's something. That's magic, huh? That's fucking magic.
Yeah.
That is cool. Yeah, that's sort of got to the back of my mouth there now. It's
I'm
not even going to ask. I don't want to know how. I really don't. I'm scared to figure out how, but shit, fair play, man. Well, that is cool as shit. That is great. That must really annoy your wife when she's trying to fight with you or anything like that. You just look at her and you go,
No,
I know what you're thinking.
That really annoys her. Just being me really annoys her.
So when she goes, do you know what I'm thinking? You just go, yes, I do. And that must really piss her off something massively.
Yeah, if that was the reality, that would be fun. But it's not the reality.
That is cool as shit, man. That is, man. It's not often I'd be stuck for words, but that is cool. I genuinely don't know. Really, I don't.
I don't know. It's just
I was going to
appreciate the moment.
Fuck, I'm sweating. I was actually looking. I was looking through your Instagram the other day, and do you know what the really cool one is that you do? And again, it's the underhand deal. That is awesome. How you can set the cards up. That is a really cool way of doing things.
Yeah.
It was the one where you did. Could you ever cheat in the casino? That one you did.
I love it. I love it.
That is a
you know what?
cool one.
Here's the thing. I'm very slow to put videos out. Like, I'm very slow. For someone that's a full-time magician, the amount of magic that's out there from me on my Instagram and maybe on my Facebook, it probably doesn't balance out. And that's because I just have magic really is a two-way thing, and when you're doing it into a camera, it's a bit empty. But sometimes some things, if I say, that would be actually good to do on camera, and normally it has to fill this format of something that is like I see a practice session from a magician would be an interesting thing, and that's where that actually comes from. So the second deal one was a practice session. So that's
we just got Tom Coughlin coming in saying that's amazing. So these are people coming in now saying it was amazing.
Yes, thank you, Tom. So like that but they're things that I think that people might see as interesting that you don't really but it's very interesting.
It's cool.
My favorite author in that here is these guys here, Steve Forte, who is an expert from Las Vegas. Like, for people that don't know what we're talking about, will I do a quick demo?
Oh, yeah, of course. I ain't going to say no. Shit.
First off...
this one is cool as well. I've seen this one. Yeah. This is cool.
This is like...
Hold on, I'm going to zoom in for this again. Let me get this. I ain't going to dishonest it. Okay.
Basically, I got cardboard. I cut it out. So it's the idea is that they're very specific dimensions. And when I do this... it prints. So it prints into this. And then if you do this, watch, if you kind of close it up like this, it now is a card box. So that's what was printed. And if you open up and tilt out, now you have pack of cards. All right, good. So, but listen, that was me selling it. Let me show you what we were talking about. Let's go to here. So we spoke about the second deal, right? So the second deal. First, let's do this. Give it a quick shuffle. Perfect. Let's see.
So I take it people don't play cards with you?
No.
They don't play 35, or you've never been called for...
I used to play cards before, but only with like friends and family, really.
Did you used to screw them over all the time just because?
Sometimes I would practice something, but it was never to take the money. Taking the money was just a
bonus.
Something that happened because of the practice. No. But anyway, going back to the memories, actually, of when I was younger, and I used to speak about moments that were significant in my life. Another moment which I realized was I used to love movies, and I used to go to the cinema a lot. And I remember this was before I found the book, but I remember seeing a movie called Maverick with Mel Gibson. Do you remember that movie?
I do.
Yeah, and it blew me away. It was just full of double crosses, and it really, like, that age of kind of gunslingers and card hustlers really used to speak to me. And but there was a moment in it where he'd close his eyes and he'd try to cut the cards, and he'd try to cut to an ace, and that was the whole thing. And that was one of the things that used to kind of there was just a memory that kind of really engaged with me and made me want to become a magician, because I thought that was real. So much so that I still try to practice it to today. So let's try if we can do this. We're going to go for the Ace of Spades. All right?
Okay.
The Ace of Spades. But honestly, that is like, they could all be Ace of Spades. Of course they could, but they're not, right?
They're not.
But what we were speaking about earlier on is just something that's interesting. From the gaming table comes a move called a second deal, and it's used to cheat, right? And the second deal, let's say the ace is on top and I'm the dealer, but I got to deal people first, so I got to deal like everybody else first and then myself last. Well, I know the first person's got the Ace of Spades, or do they? Because I've actually dealt it to myself. using a technique called the second deal. And the second deal is basically, I'll leave it face up, but when you push the card out to deal, you actually deal the one from underneath, right? So, and face down, it can be, very deceptive. Okay. Now, you haven't got a really good angle on this, but I'll show you some of the other things you can do with the second deal. There's a number of different ones you can do. You can do a second deal where the top card doesn't move. So the reason you would do this is it doesn't really look possible. If you don't move the top card, then to take the one beneath it, because this is really what's happening, is more or less impossible, right? So there's the Ace of Spades. The one underneath is the Jack of Hearts. But you can do it where top card doesn't move. I'll try to expose it. This is a very unnatural angle for me, so it might be hard for me to do this. But what? The top card doesn't move, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't move, so you can't take the second card out. But each time, the ace is staying on top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's what you were referring to earlier on as the second deal. There is, of course, a deal where you deal from the bottom, right? So when you're dealing out cards, and by the time you come to yourself, you deal from the bottom. That is a bottom deal, so it's now gone from the bottom. And these are all kind of moves from the gunslinging days, Yeah. And they're just, I always found them very interesting. So I just practiced them. I just practiced them just to be able to do it. I see it as it's more like a therapy to sit down and practice different moves.
But would you find yourself at home just actually playing with a deck of cards in random,
watching TV,
just shuffling cards?
Watching TV, shuffling cards. Yeah, that would happen quite a bit. So yeah, definitely.
And does it take long to learn a trick? Like if you see something, do you go, like you gotta practice and practice and practice and practice and practice and practice?
So like it can do, but the real question is like it depends on the foundation, So like we're like me today learning something new, I have a much better foundation, much better.
Yes, I understand.
Much better practicing techniques. I'll probably get it 10 times as quick as what I would have done 10 years ago, even though I would have thought I was pretty good 10 years ago. Then still I can get to it quicker now, But you kind of like at the beginning it's about consumption, you just learn everything. You just want to learn. I want to learn that. I'm doing difficult moves for the sake of doing difficult moves. And as you kind of progress on, it's like we spoke about earlier on. The audience tells you what it wants, after a while you find out what's really important, and anything that helps the story or anything that helps the moment is what's really important.
But you've got all them gunslinging tricks. Like you have another video up for Chase the Ace. The three queens, the three ladies, the old Bronx trick. I've seen that. I've seen that done in real life, and I've also seen it done with the cups with a little foamy ball. You know what I mean? Where they slip the hand and all this sleight of hand. So, but like sleight of hand, you can make anything happen. In fairness, like if
you can, and that's always. I think I start that video by saying like, if you ever come across this, walk the other way. It's designed that it will take your money, and that's the truth.
It will take your money.
That's what the game is. You cannot win. There's not a chance of losing. It's a con.
There's no magic in that. That's just a pure con.
There's not. It's a con. It really is a con. What you know, like it's all about the unknowns. What you don't know is that there's 3 or 4 people working that hustle, and you only think there's one.
Oh, well,
There's 2 guys just won before you. It's your turn. Oh, you were the unlucky number. 1 in every 3 people lose. Just happened to be you. Yeah. Everybody loses.
Yeah. You just saw this guy win $1,000, and of course you can see it, but you can't see it. Like, which is the lady? Where's the lady? Do you have a favorite trick? Like, is there something out there where you'd go, I would love to be able to do that? Like, that is like it. You'd love to be like, this is where this trick is what I want to do. Not that I want to do, but this is something that I'd like to do, or, just is that one trick where you go, ha. Because, there's another magic show, Try to Fool Us, Tell and...
Penn and Teller, Fool Us.
Yeah.
So they're giants in the magic industry. They're giants in the performing world. They're giants in Vegas. They're really big deal. Penn and Teller Fool Us, and it's a great show. I like that show a lot, actually. I don't normally like TV magic because it's a different style of magic that I'm just not that into. It's like I am really into the magic that's, I suppose, what can you say, that doesn't really take away from it. I like the magic that feels live, I suppose, and that's why I like Penn and Teller, because it's stuff that you would see it as if you were there, right? And that's probably the best way for me to kind of say that. But it's a really good show. It's a really good show.
It's a cool show.
Is there a trick that I would like to do? I don't know. I don't really have a favorite trick. Number one, I mean, there's one for nearly every situation that might fit better.
Yeah.
But a favorite trick, I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe I can't think of one. Like, I know there's tricks I don't want to do, like that I feel very strong on. There's a trick called there's a piece called Smash and Stab, and a lot of people have done it. I'm not sure if Darren Brown has even done it. And I just hate that type of magic. I literally decided it's okay to hate it, and now I feel like I say that. And Smash and Stab is, there's one spike on the table.
Yes, on the bag.
You put paper cups over it, and you take someone's hand, and they decide on where you smash, and then you smash and you avoid. The trick is that you avoid the spike.
Yes.
And to me, it's going back to what people are feeling throughout this. And anxiety isn't magic for me. I don't like anybody feeling anxious at my. I don't think anybody turns around at the end of the performance and say, I don't think anybody turns around and goes, wasn't that amazing that the
guy didn't stab himself?
Or some people use the spectator's hand, right?
Yeah, I've seen that done as well.
Wasn't that amazing? I think it's more, I am relieved I didn't get stabbed. That's how I truly believe how they view it, right? And it's just such. If I was at a show and I was brought up on stage, I would not like to feel that emotion while being on stage in front of 1,000 people or whoever. So they're the kind of things that I really don't like. There's another one where people use as cigar cutters, or it's like a small guillotine that you put someone's finger in and it doesn't chop it in the end. And it's like those things I really don't like. I really.
That's not necessarily magic. It's more like
it's presented as a trick, and it's presented as a trick, that can never go wrong. But the truth is, it's gone wrong.
I've seen that smashing thing go wrong. I've seen it on YouTube go wrong.
Yeah, it has gone wrong, and it's gone wrong where people borrow someone else's hand. I'm sorry, if there's a possibility of something go wrong and you want to put my hand over it, no. Yeah. Because I suppose I'm of the viewpoint, is if you told everybody beforehand, I'm going to put a spike under here and you're going to put your hand over it, I'm going to slam it when you're not expecting it, and we're going to hope the spike doesn't go through. Is that okay with you? I don't think you get anybody to go along with it.
Yeah, pick me. Yeah. No, I wouldn't. That's not enjoyable to me either. Like even certain stuff David Blaine does where he do you see the one where he puts the ice pick through his arm? Like, that's not magic.
I'm with you. I don't.
That's weird.
I'm not into it. There's lots of stuff. I mean, David Blaine he's a lot to answer for. Like I said, in magic, like he has changed magic and he's changed close-up magic and he kind of saved magic in a way. But there is a lot I'm just not into. I just don't get excited. I'm not excited about being frozen in a block of ice. I'm not excited about hanging over a bridge in a glass box.
The gasoline thing. Did you see that one where he swallows the gasoline and throws it up?
Yeah, I did.
That's not magic either.
Trying to go on and do a card trick, and I'm amazed. I'm loving it. I'm like, why didn't you do this? One thing that I did do that was a bit on the verge. Oh God, I really don't like this, but he's done it, and at least it's to himself. But it was actually a really good performance. Was the one where he's sewn his mouth closed.
Oh yes, I saw that. Yeah.
But it was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
And he had the piece of card in the mouth.
Yeah, but he didn't do it for the sake of it. He didn't do it just for piercing his arm. The piercing the arm thing was just like I've just pierced myself. I just stabbed myself. Yeah. I think there's a lovely clip of him doing it to I was going to call him Brent Ricky Gervais.
Oh, Ricky Gervais. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, so it starts off where Ricky's just looking at it, then he just kind of, you see him go through those moments of psychological surrender. You know, you kind of there's a moment in it where you see him give up, and even at the end, he said, "You said like this." It's not magic. He just stuck a needle through it. but it's very funny. It's very good.
And he would be just that honest type. Like, you just fucking stabbed yourself, mate. Like, come on. Like, you know? There's a really cool thing he did. I saw it, actually. He did it on the Joe Rogan podcast. I watched it. That's a pretty good podcast for what he does. But Joe Rogan stabs him. And you can see Joe Rogan being like, you know, the guy who watches people get like knocked out up close. Blood spattered, like the closest thing we have to the Colosseum in Rome. Like, you know what I mean? This is what Joe Rogan is commentating on. And you see him put the ice pick through the arm. And like you can kind of see him just throw up a little bit in his mouth. He's kind of going, like there's that whole, I'm literally stabbing this guy in the arm. You know what I mean? But the one thing I really do enjoy about David Blaine is he always makes you question whether or not it's true or false. You know what I mean? He's a great, like he's going, oh yeah, but I maybe have all these cards set up in such a way. And then he'll show them. And he'll go, yes, but I might have them shown up in this way. And then he'll show that. And it's like, he makes you want to believe that the trick is a trick. But then he shows you how it's not a trick, but then also shows you how it is a trick. And it's kind of, you're all over the place with it. And that's really cool. I like that part of it.
I like that. I like that. That's something that I did. That's going back to something that I do try to, like, again, I'm only coming to these realizations late in life and performance, like, but like now I know exactly what it is, and it's honesty in performance. Yeah. Like I never tell people that's, you know, I never tell people it's magic. I never tell them. But you come to your conclusion at the end yourself, and I won't take that away from you either.
Yes,
you know.
Yes, and that's what you don't like. Everybody wants to know how the trick is done, but do they really? I don't think they do, because if they did, like you said, you go through that door and you're kind of finished. Like,
yeah, absolutely. But you know what? I think after time, the question stops. You know, I do think that.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's just a shame. Yeah. Do you know what we're going to do? We're gonna do my little magic trick, right? Now, like I said, I think I've got something, right? You're a soccer fan, right? And I think you're a Liverpool supporter. Am I right? Am I right?
Maybe, yeah, you're right, yeah.
See how I capped that? See, we both could be magic.
There we go.
But hey, mine is a more visual thing than anything else.
Right.
We're going to do our quiz, right? There's nothing there. There's nothing there. There you are. Now there's a magic trick done by a professional clown. Right, we've got our most important part. First off, Jerry, you blew me away, man. You literally made me sweat. For the first time, this hot seat was my hot seat, and I was fucking sweating watching you, right? I really was. Anybody, go on, shout out your Instagram, your Facebook, and your website. Shout them out. Let everybody know.
Facebook page is Gerard Kearney the Magician, Gerard, and Instagram is Cork Magician at Cork Magician. What else did you say? What website? Website is corkmagician.ie.
Open for all bookings, and if you want your party to be talked to for years to come, book this man. And I can safely say I've booked him myself for my own wedding. That's how good he is. Right? So I can at least say he's as good. I'm buying into this whole thing. So it might be the only time where you have the groom just glued to you for however long you're going to be there, because I'll probably just be there. I'll just forget everybody. Yeah. This will just be a private show for Terence. Terence is just going to sit down and watch this for however long it is. But look, we've got the fun part of the show, right? We've got you probably know these questions already. I'm going to ask you. If you really look into my eyes, they're pretty simple. But you'll definitely have the answers, right? So here we go. We've got 30 seconds. We've got to wait. All right. First off, thank you for doing this. I really, really appreciate everything you've done. And, keep doing what you do, man, because you blow people away. Every time I see you fucking blow my mind. So thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate you taking time out, because I know you're busy. Failing to be your professional dad's son. But getting there in the end eventually. Right, here we go. We're going to wrap it up. We got 30 seconds. Which is worse, washing the dishes or washing your clothes?
Washing the dishes.
Chocolate in the fridge or outside the fridge?
Outside the fridge.
Thank you. Are you a Coke man or a Pepsi man?
Oh, Coke.
Coke. This is the hardest question. This is the most topical question we have now. Does the toilet roll go over the top or does it go against the wall?
Against the wall.
Against
Always.
the wall. Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
Favorite actress or actor?
Oh, God.
Quick.
Let's go with Cillian Murphy for now.
Cillian Murphy for now. If you were in a hotel, would you prefer an ocean view or a city view?
City.
Are you a dog person or a cat person?
That's actually, I'm a dog person.
Dog person.
My cat got killed this morning on the road.
Oh, sorry about that.
I know.
There you are now. Sorry, brother. There's another topical point brought to you by the Cabin Fever podcast.
Yeah, strange you brought that one up. Go on.
Sorry about that.
No,
favorite country in the world. We'll finish on this one at a high note.
Ireland.
You can't. No, it's actually bar Ireland. What's your favorite country in the world? You put me off.
You know what? I my favorite visit was probably New York, I suppose. So we'll have to go with the States.
New York, the States. It's
the
land of wonder, isn't it? Ger, once again, brother, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you, and just keep doing what you're doing because it's absolutely amazing.
Cheers, buddy. Thanks a million for having me. My pleasure. Delighted to do it.
It was my pleasure. Trust me, brother. Thank you so much.